1. Emma Raducanu's coach predicts Taylor Fritz's key advantage versus Carlos Alcaraz at Wimbledon 2025. 2. Taylor Fritz grass dominance. Why Wimbledon's semifinal was inevitable. 3. Tommy Paul praises Taylor Fritz's Wimbledon semifinal performance. 4. Taylor Fritz versus Carlos Alcaraz Wimbledon 2024. Jim Courier's prediction and matchup analysis. 1. Emma Raducanu's coach predicts Taylor Fritz's key advantage versus Carlos Alcaraz at Wimbledon 2025. When it comes to Wimbledon semifinals, many fans are quick to assume that the favorite will always come out on top. But here's where it gets controversial. Sometimes, the underdog can catch everyone by surprise, and Taylor Fritz might be just that player despite the odds. Emma Raducanu's coach recently shared insights that could shed light on what makes Fritz a potential upset contender against Carlos Alcaraz, even in the face of widespread predictions favoring the Spanish sensation. The upcoming clash between Alcaraz and Fritz has been highly anticipated, especially since it determines who advances to the grand final. Naturally, most eyes are on Alcaraz, who recently demonstrated his top form by dismantling Cameron Norrie in front of a cheering home crowd, raising the question, can anyone stop him if he plays like that? However, Mark Petchey offers a different perspective. During a discussion on the Grand Slam Daily podcast, he analyzed the matchup extensively. He pointed out that Fritz, despite entering this semifinal as the underdog, has certain qualities that could tip the scales in his favor. Petchey highlighted Fritz's past performances on grass courts, having already won 2 grass court tournaments, and his proven ability to adapt and succeed on this surface over the years. What makes Fritz's chances intriguing is the element of unpredictability. Petchey noted that Fritz's relatively limited history of matches against Alcaraz could work to his advantage because it keeps some aspects of the match up as an unknown quantity, an edge for any player seeking an upset. He summarized his prediction with cautious optimism, saying, "Carlos is the favorite, sure, but Fritz has a puncher's chance given his experience. His unfamiliarity with Alcaraz's specific play style might just be beneficial." Adding to the buzz, former tennis star Jim Courier weighed in with a more skeptical view, suggesting that Fritz's path to victory depends heavily on 2 key factors. First, Fritz must be in peak form, on the kind of game-shattering level he's capable of, and second, Alcaraz must experience a dip in his performance, similar to what he faced during Charlotte's early matches this tournament. If Alcaraz begins firing on all cylinders from the outset, it might become nearly impossible for Fritz to turn the tide. Looking back at their head-to-head record, Fritz has notably struggled against Alcaraz, losing to him at the Miami Open in 2023 and at the Laver Cup in 2024. Most impressively, Alcaraz's serve during his recent match at Queens was flawless, almost impossible to break, an unbreakable fortress. Yet, during this tournament, his serve has displayed some inconsistency, opening the door for Fritz to attack. If Fritz can capitalize on Alcaraz's serve early and hold his own service games with precision, he stands a fighting chance. Conversely, if Alcaraz recaptures his peak serving performance paired with his aggressive return game, it's likely that very little Fritz can do will change the outcome. Ultimately, Fritz's potential to upend Alcaraz hinges heavily on whether the Spaniard falters or maintains his relentless dominance. The question remains, can Fritz harness this rare opportunity, or will Alcaraz's overwhelming skill prove unstoppable? Share your thoughts. Do you believe Fritz has what it takes to shock the tennis world, or is Alcaraz destined to defend his title once more? 2. Taylor Fritz grass dominance. Why Wimbledon's semifinal was inevitable. Imagine a world where Taylor Fritz reaching the semifinals of Wimbledon is no longer a surprise. It's a testament to his growth and consistency, yet it still feels groundbreaking. Can you believe we're living in an era where Fritz's deep runs in major championships are becoming the norm rather than the exception? For much of his career, from 2014 to 2019, Fritz struggled to break into the top 30 of the ATP rankings. It wasn't until February 2022 that he finally cracked the top 20. Since then, he's become a fixture in the top 10, known for his unwavering consistency. While consistency is crucial, it often doesn't translate directly into winning Grand Slam titles. This has led some to question whether Fritz can truly be considered a contender for such prestigious victories. Another factor in this skepticism is his nationality. No American man has won a Grand Slam title since Andy Roddick's victory at the 2003 U.S. Open. This long-standing drought has created a perception that American players lack the ability to clinch Grand Slam glory. However, this notion overlooks Fritz's exceptional skills. With his powerful serves and aggressive ground strokes, Fritz's potential is boundless. As Michael Jordan famously said, "The sky is the limit," and in Fritz's case, the ceiling is indeed sky-high. We've reached a point where Fritz consistently reaches deep into the quarters and semis of major tournaments, making it seem almost effortless. Despite this being only his second Grand Slam semifinal, both appearances came within the last 4 slams, including a runner-up finish to Jannik Sinner at the 2024 U.S. Open. Additionally, Fritz has reached 4 other major quarterfinals since Wimbledon in 2022. While it's true that Fritz benefited from a favorable draw in recent rounds at Wimbledon, many others with equally good draws faltered. Fritz, however, stayed focused and executed his game plan. He secured his semi-final spot by defeating Alejandro Davidovich Fokina, Jordan Thompson, who retired in the second set, and Karen Khachanov. His journey didn't start there. In his first 2 rounds, he faced tough opponents. In the 5th set, trailing 2-1 and 5-1 in the 4th set tiebreaker, he managed to overcome Giovanni Petchey Pericard. Following that, he battled Gabriel Diallo, who had just won in Mallorca, and won again in a grueling match. With 5 Wimbledon wins under his belt, Fritz stands at an impressive 13-1 on grass in 2025, having claimed titles in Stuttgart and Eastbourne. His record on grass since last summer is even more impressive, standing at 23-3, with 2 of those Eastbourne titles coming during this particularly hot period. When asked if grass is his best surface, Fritz admitted, "I've made a semi-final here, 2 other quarterfinals at Wimbledon. Given that grass is such a short part of the year compared to everything else, I think it speaks volumes that half of my titles are on grass." Predicting the outcome of Friday's semi-final between Fritz and Carlos Alcaraz is challenging, but Fritz's presence in the Final Four is a clear indicator of his progress. His journey from struggling to consistently making deep runs in Grand Slams is nothing short of inspiring. What do you think? Should Fritz be considered a serious contender for a Grand Slam title? Share your thoughts in the comments. 3. Tommy Paul praises Taylor Fritz's Wimbledon semifinal performance. In a thrilling turn of events, Taylor Fritz has made it to the semifinals of Wimbledon for the very first time, setting the stage for an exciting showdown against Carlos Alcaraz this Friday. This achievement comes after Fritz faced a formidable challenge from Karen Khachanov in the quarterfinals, and now the American tennis star is filled with aspirations of clinching his inaugural Grand Slam title. As Fritz prepares for this pivotal match, tennis legend John McEnroe has offered some insightful advice, which will be intriguing to see if Fritz incorporates as he navigates the final stages of the tournament. Over the past few weeks, Fritz has shown consistent performance, having recently triumphed at the Eastbourne Open prior to Wimbledon, and now he is aiming for an even greater accolade this weekend. Tommy Paul's strong endorsement of Fritz. Tommy Paul, who alongside Fritz aimed for Olympic gold for the USA at last year's Games in Paris, expressed pride in their bronze medal achievement. Both players have been under significant pressure to elevate American men's tennis, and their recent successes reflect their hard work and dedication. Following Fritz's victory over Khachanov, Wimbledon's official Instagram account welcomed him to the semifinals with a celebratory message. Paul, in a show of camaraderie, praised Fritz's performance, stating, "The guy is a menace on the grass," highlighting Fritz's formidable skills on this surface. As Fritz gears up to face Alcaraz, he enters the match with a sense of freedom. After all, he has little to lose against a 2-time champion. This match could be a defining moment in his career. Seizing the moment, Fritz's golden opportunity. At 27 years old, Fritz has dedicated his life to achieving victory in one of tennis's most prestigious tournaments. He came agonizingly close at the U.S. Open, where he finished as a runner-up. Now, he finds himself with a golden opportunity at Wimbledon, and it is crucial that he seizes this moment with both hands. In his quarter of the draw, Fritz witnessed several top seeds fall, which may not happen again in future Grand Slam events. To claim the trophy, he will need to overcome not only Carlos Alcaraz, but likely also face either Jannik Sinner or Novak Djokovic, both of whom are formidable opponents. However, Fritz has the potential to rise to the occasion. As he enters this critical semifinal, it will be fascinating to observe how Fritz handles the added pressure of competing against Alcaraz. Will he rise to the challenge and secure his place in tennis history? The excitement is palpable, and fans are eager to see how this story unfolds. 4. Taylor Fritz vs. Carlos Alcaraz Wimbledon 2024. Jim Courier's prediction and matchup analysis. In the world of tennis, the stakes are always high, and the competition can be fierce. Recently, Jim Courier shared his insights on Taylor Fritz's prospects against the formidable Carlos Alcaraz, and it's a topic that stirs up quite a bit of debate. After a remarkable surge in performance during the latter part of last season, where Fritz not only reached his first Grand Slam final at the US Open, but also made it to the finals of the ATP Finals, he faced a bit of a setback at the beginning of this year. This dip in form prevented him from solidifying his position as the world number 4, a ranking he had worked so hard to achieve. Despite these challenges, Fritz maintained his faith in his abilities and the strategies he developed with his coaching team. This determination bore fruit at the Wimbledon Championships, where he made history by reaching the semifinals for the first time in his career. However, he will be stepping onto the court as the underdog against the two-time champion, Carlos Alcaraz, in their upcoming match on Friday. Fritz has struggled against the young Spanish sensation in previous encounters, openly admitting that Alcaraz's style of play can be quite frustrating for him. Yet, the unique characteristics of the grass surface at Wimbledon might just level the playing field more than many anticipate. In the quarterfinals, Fritz showcased his skill by capitalizing on his opportunities, defeating Russian player Karen Khachanov in 4 sets, despite experiencing a sudden dip in performance. He had been nearly flawless in the first 2 sets, but Khachanov mounted a comeback that nearly pushed the match to a 5th set. During a segment on Tennis Channel Live, former world number 1 Jim Courier weighed in on Fritz's chances against Alcaraz in the semifinals. He expressed skepticism, stating, "It's not likely, given who's still in the field. We still have the 3 major protagonists. He's going to have to go through Alcaraz in the semifinals, and most likely, either Sinner or Djokovic in the final. That's a tall order." However, Courier also noted, "Is it impossible? This surface makes it more likely for him. It closes the gap, because it's so much harder. We talk about it all tournament. It's so much harder to play defense on this one. He plays great offense. Defense is not his strength, but everyone's defense gets worse on grass. So this does give him a better chance, but he's certainly not going to be the favorite." This analysis raises intriguing questions about the dynamics of the match. Can Fritz leverage the grass surface to his advantage, or will Alcaraz's skill and experience prove too much to handle? As fans, we are left to ponder. What do you think? Will Fritz surprise us all, or is Alcaraz destined to dominate once again? Share your thoughts in the comments.